Okay, this is the intro for the podcast.
Fuck. Oh, shit.
Welcome back to Joe Just Shit His Pants.
Oh, no. I need to change my diaper.
Is anyone else fucking pumped for spooky season?
I don't know what that is.
Nope,
Oh.
hate it.
Okay.
Hate horror movies. Hate all movies.
Yeah, movies do
Put a
suck.
pumpkin up my ass.
Yep.
Bunch of leaves. Yeah, well, welcome back to this little show that we do. I'm your host, Sam.
I'm Joby.
I'm Blakey.
And Mommy want Milky. And we are pumped as fuck, even though they don't care.
Halloween.
I'm Abby Doobie, the movie. And we're here to kick off the month of spooks in a good way, you know. We're going to talk about our boy John Carpenter.
And we're here at the Shared
Johnny
Universe
boy.
podcast studio.
We are not.
We
Although
are
I
in
miss you.
spirit. We are in spirit.
So we're going to just, you know, we're gonna gush over a fucking cinematic legend today. You know what I'm saying?
He's aight.
Talking about Borat. You know,
Dude,
Borat show drop, baby. Go check it out.
quality cinema.
I'm
John
excited.
Carpenter's
as fuck.
Borat.
Not as good as David Lynch's Norbit. Holy shit. Yeah, so Blake, actually, before you became a permanent member of the show, you and I discussed a little bit of Carpenter back in the day, so
Sick and nut.
I wanted to, yeah, well, you said, fuck you, mommy want Milky, so I thought we would,
right.
I thought we'd revisit it with Joe, because,
As a team.
you know, Carpenter, man, to really understand his brilliance, you have to get into horror, am I right? Am I right, guys?
We're
I hate
such
movies.
losers. Oh, movies suck.
So tell me, guys, how the hell did you find out about John Carpenter?
Blake, do you want to go first?
I don't even remember, honestly. It might have been from watching Rob Zombie's Halloween and then watching the original.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm kind of a late bloomer with like horror movies, even though it's like what I like now. I didn't really get into horror movies till I was like a teenager. So,
Step bro.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, when I was younger, it
Big
was
fan.
like I don't know. I think like I was into like different movies growing up, but I think horror was like the first genre that I got into when I like basically like when I was like, young, around like when I was a teenager, and like Halloween, the original one was like one of the first horror movies I ever watched.
Mhm.
I think that might have been like like other than like Killer Clowns, I think Halloween was like the first that I watched like on my own. And yeah, and then I didn't really know about him, but that's just like the first thing that I saw from him.
So Halloween was your introduction?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it was not mine. I think the first one I saw by him was The Thing. And I remember seeing it when I was younger because my dad just tortured the shit out of me and forced me to watch movies all the time. So he
Well, then I guess like it might be The Thing because my dad did the same thing, but I didn't watch the whole thing until quarantine recently. But because I was so terrified of it, like growing up, my dad showed me like the dog like mutating scene.
Oh yeah, that fucked me up.
Yeah, and it like terrified me. So I was like, "Ooh, cool! I'm not watching this for a long time."
Cool, Dad.
I was
Hardcore.
like, thanks, step bro.
It just amazes me that I guess since we're on the topic of The Thing, we'll just start with that. But it amazes me that when that movie first came out, it was just like completely despised by everybody.
Yeah,
Oh,
the thing,
really?
you're talking about The Thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it got terrible reviews when it came out.
Yeah, critics absolutely bashed it, and they didn't like understand what the direction was supposed to be at all. And it came at a time where a lot of people, you know, because that was around the 80s, and a lot of people wanted gore. It became the new fad.
Yeah.
Like people were, because everyone's coming off the heels of 60s and 70s horror, which is a lot more psychologically driven. I mean, there was still violence, but I mean, with the exception of like Blood-Sucking Freaks, which is a horribly disgusting movie, but there wasn't that good tasteful gore that could get everyone going to the theater. So like then he did that with The Thing, and it was met with just all these fucking horrible reviews. And I remember when I first saw it, I couldn't believe that for a movie at that time, the practical effects were just insane.
So bad.
It's so bad. I couldn't believe it. Like for example, the scene where the guy's head falls off and like the spider creature pops out and it starts scurrying across the floor, and you're just like, what the fuck?
You're like, damn, bro.
No, but
there's
I
a
really
lot of
respected
effects.
that. Like,
There's a lot of effects in
Yeah.
that movie that like not only hold up, but even watching it now, if you haven't like, researched it, how the fuck do that?
Yeah, it's just like insane to me that like that was like my biggest takeaway from the movie was just like the practical effects. Like it just showed that he was like on a next level, and yeah, it was just like literally like how the fuck did they do that? Like during that like time, like what year did that come out again?
82.
Yeah, like literally insane.
Yeah, and I looked up the artist for that. His name is Rob Bottin, because I was very much curious to see who he collaborated with, and I think like I haven't even heard of that guy, and he's already like my favorite guy in the fucking industry, because I mean, especially
He's so
and we're
sexy.
we're desensitized now, but imagine just people watching that back then and seeing that shit happen. It's
Yeah, dude, I would lose my mind.
yeah. But yeah, The Thing, I mean, Blake and I, other times we've all talked about it, but it is just, it's like the quintessential horror movie next to Halloween. It's
Yeah.
just, it is perfect at building atmosphere
Hmm.
and creating tension. And I like the seamless and simplistic nature of Carpenter's storytelling. He just like hops from thing to thing to thing, and it doesn't have to have a whole lot of exposition. It's just, this is it. This is happening right now.
Yeah, The Thing especially, it just like jumps right into it. There's not a whole lot of setup, but it doesn't need any setup, so it like
Right.
works really well.
And like we talked about before, that movie is based on a movie from the 50s called The Thing from Another World, which was created by Howard Hawks, which is a personal favorite director of mine. And I always knew that Carpenter admired him, but I didn't know to what extent till I recently watched a documentary about him.
Yeah.
And he basically lovingly stole a lot of elements from Howard Hawks's storytelling, because when you watch a Carpenter movie, that's basically what Hawks was doing. He was
Mhm.
presenting situation to situation to situation without any explanation, and it's just simple and it's seamless and it works. And
Yeah.
I really respect that. Yeah, he's ripping what he did, but he's doing it out of love, and it works because horror is just kind of, I mean, obviously it's existed forever, but it's one of those things where like it's basically, it speaks to the sensibilities of that decade or that era
Yeah.
of time. And so, if you go back in time and you look at the Frankenstein films, those were created to pander to like a Great Depression audience. And then you get to The Thing, and it's just like a whole different animal. So I appreciate that he's so in love with Howard Hawks that you see it throughout all of his movies.
So bad.
Yeah, it's a bad film. But yeah, I mean, what else do you say about The Thing? It's
There's a thing.
it's a thing.
Yeah, it was just I was really upset with myself that I had put off watching it for so long. Because now it's like I would say that, well, Halloween's my number one Carpenter film, and then probably
QB Halloween.
Yeah.
I think I like all of the discussion about like the ending of the thing too. All the like not controversy, but like a lot of people have different ideas about like what the ending means and
Yeah.
like who was like human at the end, who wasn't. It's pretty.
Right.
I like the open endedness of it, that you don't really get a definitive answer. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, like John Carpenter is one of those like directors who won't give like a straight answer when he's
Yeah.
asked about it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
No, you are not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like doesn't really explain it either, which I appreciate. I think sometimes like open-ended stuff should stay open-ended.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
and that definitely fits into the theme of his body of work and his personality. Like the fact that he doesn't explain it is what makes it so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't have to know.
It's honestly kind of a theme throughout his movies. If you really look at like his list of like his most iconic films, a lot of them are just kind of like you accept what's going on in like the world of the movie, but there's not a ton of explanation for anything. Like
Right.
even Halloween, like there's not a ton of explanation about Michael Myers and like who or what he is, other than the beginning of the movie, obviously. And like They Live, I think, is like that too. You kind of, you don't really know much about like the aliens in that movie, and you don't really need to.
Right. Yeah, I think yeah, going back to what you said about like in Halloween, you know, in the beginning of that movie, you see a young Michael Myers and he kills his sister, and you're like, oh, he's just like a normal boy, and that's all the exposition they provide.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward a little bit, and like, oh wait, he's not human. Like I don't quite understand, but the fact that he exists and he's just a fucking serial killer, that's really all you need.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
else after that is just like formality.
It's because he's the boogeyman.
He is legit
Yeah.
bogeyman.
It's
Well,
the
and
boogeyman.
even like the mask and everything, there's just not a ton of explanation, because obviously that's like one of the earliest slasher movies. So like
Yeah.
killers wearing a mask is pretty common now, but it wasn't then.
Mhm.
And so it's like just another like aspect of the movie that he kind of just threw in and was just like, fuck it, I'm not going to explain it. This is just how the movie's going to be, and it works.
It does. Yeah. Spooky
And that's
man.
definitely I would say, like, Halloween's my favorite out of all of his movies. It's in my like top movies like ever, but I just like how simple that movie is, and a lot of people hate on it because of it's not super scary, and I'm like, but like it is scary, like, and it's the fact that it's like it's so simple that it's scary, and
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be like terrifying, but it's still like a scary movie. Like it's, and the way he like builds the suspense like through his music, like makes it even scarier, or at least to me.
Oh yeah, and I actually that's something I did want to talk about because obviously it's one of the most iconic horror themes or themes in general.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that really makes the Halloween theme work is the fact that you expect it to change after the but then it doesn't, and then it starts to grate on your nerves, and you're like, wait, no, I need it to change. Like I'm getting upset now, and he just keeps playing with you emotionally, and I think that's perfect.
Yeah,
he knew what he was doing.
Dude, it's one of my favorite scores ever. Like all the songs throughout the whole movie, like even like Laurie's song and like just a simple piano and stuff. Like I'm really glad that they had him come back to do the score for the newest one.
Yeah, and that score was really good too.
Yeah, dude. And they added like
that.
synths and stuff, and like made it like super heavy. So good.
He is the master of synth. Like people were doing it before him here and there, but he popularized the use of it. Like
for sure.
Like I can't think of a more notable example than just Carpenter's career in general.
Like other than like what's his name? Who did the score for Suspiria and Dawn of the Dead? unless those are two different people.
Oh well,
the band Goblin.
the band was Goblin,
Yeah.
but
like that was
Yeah.
like a full band, but he's just one guy. So
yeah,
but they
no,
also
it's
had, like,
insane.
I
yeah,
think
it's also
Goblin was
it's also funny with John Carpenter. Like, I'm pretty sure he did all of his own scores just because he didn't have anybody to do it. Like when he made Halloween and like his early movies, he did the scores just because he didn't feel like paying a composer, pretty much. So he was just like, I'll do it.
Yeah,
Because
and-
he's not a musician or anything. He just kind of like picked it up.
Yeah, it was born out of necessity. Like
Yeah.
he, like at the start of his career, like anyone who starts in any industry, he was just like a shithead hippie aspiring filmmaker.
Yeah.
So he just picked it up and
like it's a pretty simple score though. Like
Yeah.
like he probably just was like fucking around, and like it's really just simple piano and like slow down, and then there's like beat machines in the background. But it's just because it's so simple, like that's what like made it iconic.
Yeah, it's simple and smart. You guys ever see him play the Halloween theme on a Nintendo Labo keyboard?
No.
It is the
No, I
funniest
have not.
minute and a half I've ever seen. He's just like, at the end of it, he's like, this is a piece of shit.
Shit.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
my friend saw him live a few years ago.
Yeah, because he toured his anthology. He put together like an anthology soundtrack series.
Yeah.
And he toured with it. And that's
Mhm.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
checked it out.
I
But
would have creamed in my panties.
That album is good because there's a lot of stuff on there that he like never used in like original songs and
Yeah.
stuff. But
There's a lot for like a lot of like B-side stuff from like Escape from New York.
Mhm.
Which is also another spicy flick.
it is. And one of the reasons I really love that one is because it's great to see when filmmakers inject personal passions and interests into their films. And this one was cool because Carpenter's always been a fan of Westerns and comic books. And he just merges the two perfectly in Escape from New York. And Kurt Russell's character, Snake Plissken, he creates this like cool, gritty character. A lot of it's cliche, but the whole point is just like this grittiness, and it feels like a neo Western, and especially
I haven't
the fact
seen it in years.
Especially the fact he included Lee Van Cleef in the movie. I mean, a prolific spaghetti Western actor. Like you don't get more Western than that. So it's very interesting to see him draw parallels from his passions. But yeah, I love that movie. I haven't seen Escape from LA though. Have you guys seen that?
No,
it's not worth watching. It's not.
Yeah, I figured not, but
I mean, like if you like happen to like catch it on the streaming service and you have nothing else to watch, like I guess it's worth it, but it's not a very good movie.
nah.
It's after he was like kind of like over the hill of making his good movies, because like 90s John Carpenter is not great.
yeah.
He has In the Mouth of Madness, which is really good.
Right, which is like the standalone from
his
that
90s
year.
movies are not.
But it's honestly crazy to me because there's a lot of directors I admire out there, and they have these phases where they roll out movies like this decade might have one or two, this decade might have one or two hits. But Carpenter, between the 70s and the 80s, I mean, Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween, The Fog, Escape from New York, The Thing, Christine, Big Trouble in Little China. Like, his output...
Oh, I forgot he did that.
His output was just hit after hit after hit that entire fucking decade.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty much like 10-ish years, like 10 to 12 years from when he did Assault on Precinct 13 to, like, They Live, I guess, that it's just every single movie is good.
Yeah.
Like, without exception.
Yeah.
They Live is another one, like, for me, where I watched it recently, and I think it's, like, such a great film, but maybe I just, like, couldn't connect to it for some reason. Like, I thought it was great, and I loved the message, but I just felt like for some reason there was going to be something more happening in it, and then there wasn't. So I don't know. Maybe I just like I got my hopes up for some reason, or it got hyped up for me from like so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's possible. I mean, it could have just been overhyped for you.
I think They
I
Live
still
is
loved it.
I think They Live was like John Carpenter being like going full on with like the like allegory and symbolism and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
like focusing more on that than like the action or the some of the other elements from his other movies. Like that one's
Yeah.
very much
Yeah.
social commentary.
And I think
more than
that goes
anything else.
I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier about movies that pander to the era sensibilities. Like in the
Mhm.
80s, that was very much like a, grab the tinfoil hat, we're going in, boys. Like
Yeah.
that's what people were
It
talking
reminded
about.
me kind of
So-
it reminded me of George Romero, because George Romero will always
Yeah,
like
yeah,
kind of
for
put
sure.
like all of his movies like have a hidden message, and people just think that they're like just zombie movies, and they're obviously like they're not. Like Night
Yeah.
of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, like you could see the social commentary in all of his films. And like I think this like They Live was like basically like John Carpenter's just like social commentary on the world at the time. And
Yeah, I definitely
which
agree.
which was great. It was, but like yeah, I don't know, maybe I just like
Yeah, you know what it
expected
is? It's
more.
like with each of his movies, you can kind of see what he was going for.
Mhm.
Like Halloween obviously was his like killer slash slasher movie. Um Big Trouble in Little China was like he wanted to make like a cartoonish action movie. Uh and then you get to They Live, and I think he literally set out to be like, this is gonna be my like social commentary movie.
Yeah, which
Like
is cool.
each one
like,
he has a clear goal with each movie. Like The
Mhm.
Fog too is like, I'm gonna make a ghost story movie,
Yeah.
and it's like the
Yeah.
goal is very clear from the beginning, and I think that's what it was with They Live. And like obviously since it's not the 80s anymore, like a lot of those themes aren't as relevant now. Some of them
Yeah.
are, but it's definitely a very 80s movie in
Maybe
that
that's
it's
just
all
it was
about.
hard. That's like why it was hard for me to connect.
Mhm.
Just because it was like so like that film. It's like it's dated. Like you watch it,
yeah,
and, like you could
yeah.
tell it's from the '80s. So, and that's with like most of his films. Like do most John Carpenter movies like age well in the long term? Probably not. Like if I had to really explain each one, like that's why so many people are like Halloween isn't scary. Halloween's not scary, and I'm like, well, yeah, like to the mass majority of films coming out now, it's not that scary. But for that time period, all of his films were pretty great in at executing like horror or like different emotions from people, um, especially Halloween and the Thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think you definitely benefit from watching his movies through the lens of like when they came out. The
Yeah, for
context
sure.
is important.
Hmm. That's what I always like try to do with like whatever era a
Mhm.
film is coming out in. Like, yeah, like I didn't love They Live, but like for that time period, that was probably like really like pushing the boundaries, and um, just like people weren't really making movies with that type of social commentary.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing with like Romero, like, but that's why like also like why I love Carpenter, because he didn't stick to one genre of film. Like everyone associates him with horror, but that's not even half of his catalog.
Yeah, if you look at his filmography, there's honestly might be more non-horror movies than horror movies,
Yeah,
depending on what you consider
Mhm.
like
horror.
certain
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah. And just a final note on that, like horror is always changing.
Mhm.
And when you jump from the 80s to now, so many different things have been tried and developed that now people's expectation of horror is so ingrained mentally
Yeah.
that to try to reach out and go back 40, 30, 20, even 10 years, it's like a whole different world.
Yeah,
And,
and
and
like I feel like I don't know, like people it's kind of just like how the world is like just like there's so much violence in the world now, and like compared to the 80s, like it's just like when you were putting that in film, it was a lot more of a big deal, and that's where that horror came from.
yeah.
Or like people like not liking the movie because of certain type of violence or whatever. But like nowadays, if the movie doesn't have a bunch of violence, then like people don't like it. Like if it's like considered a horror movie or like it's just like crazy. Like like I I was like traumatized like watching some of those movies when I was younger, but now it has like basically zero effect on me.
Yeah, and the same thing's going to happen with the movies of now when we fast forward 20, 30
Mhm.
years. We're going to be like, oh, VHS, that wasn't even fucking scary at all. Like, what the hell? Like, but some things just still stand up to me.
Yeah.
Like, I think The Thing is timeless. I think
Oh, for
that's
sure.
just, yeah, you could just, like, inject that into most any time period, and it's like, wow, that's fucking deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we said, since the special effects were so good, they don't feel dated like a lot of practical effects movies do.
Mhm.
And so like yeah, you could show that to anyone at any time, and I think it'll land just as well. Whereas some of his other movies don't really have that.
Right.
Yeah. You're right.
You right, baby. You right.
Movies suck.
Yeah.
Overall, trash.
Yeah, we pretty much went through most of the movies I did want to talk about, but I also really like, you mentioned The Fog earlier, just to go back to that real quick. I think like that's a classic ghost story. I
Mhm.
think that the way that, so like the fact you never actually really see the ghosts to
Mhm.
me, like up in close and center, and it is kind of like the scariest part to me. And that's again an example of, you don't really need to show, oh my god, like this is the overt gore and body mutilation that you need in the movie. It's just like he builds it up.
Yeah, I think I like in The Fog how he kind of tells you right off the bat what he's trying to do by having the opening scene be people around a campfire telling ghost stories. And like this movie is basically John Carpenter like telling a campfire ghost story. It's not, meant to be like some gory horror movie or like something super terrifying or whatever. It's
Right.
more like a urban legend, local ghost story kind of movie. And I think he did a great job of like capturing the feel of that really well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um
Never seen it.
I know he also had a lot of filming locations for that movie, and I remember his Deborah Hill, who he had married pretty much around the time that they were making that movie.
Hmm.
And they literally one day were just like, let's drive until we find like a cool lighthouse, and then they somewhere in
lighthouse?
I forget where it was. I think somewhere in California, right?
Yeah, I'm sure
Blake?
it's California. He
Yeah.
films all his movies there.
Yeah, so that's cool to me, is that literally you just go outside and the dude walking his dog could be inspiration for your serial killer movie. Like that's
Yeah.
it's fucking great.
Well, it's
Love
cool
it.
too that that's his first movie after Halloween. Like he did like such a groundbreaking, like massively successful slasher movie, and then from that was like, instead of doing another slasher movie, he made like a classic ghost story. It's like you see right from the beginning that he was always going to be a filmmaker who didn't stick to one genre.
Yeah.
He jumped
Yeah.
around all the
And
time.
and like I said, that also comes from his admiration of Howard Hawks, because Howard Hawks was the same way. One
Yeah.
day he did a screwball comedy, then he did a western, then he did a horror. Like not many directors could successfully pull off a string of diverse genres like that.
Yeah, you could definitely see, like you were saying before, how much the influence was there. That's definitely, just looking at his filmography, you could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But now that once you, yeah, like you said, once you leave the 80s though, it kind of becomes, yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
that's really the case with anyone. Like there's no, I can't really think of many directors or actors like that can transcend time over 40 years and still
Yeah, I
be
mean,
the
with the
same
exception,
quality.
yeah, with the exception of like Scorsese, you're not going to find a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are some Carpenter movies from the 90s that I do like. I like Body Bags, which was a TV movie that he did. That's kind of like an anthology.
Oh, that's actually on my list to watch this month.
It's good. It's really
Yeah.
good. And then I love it in the Mouth of Madness, which was 95. But
Yeah, I've only
after
seen that
it
one
kinda-
time.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the end of his Apocalypse trilogy, which is The Thing, Prince
Mhm.
of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, I know Scream Factory restored that, so I would really like to check that out.
Yeah, it's really good.
Movies suck.
Mo- Movies kind of do suck.
Yeah, I only really followed a few of his films, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I've only seen Halloween, Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York. I don't know. That might be it. Unless I haven't seen Christine. I haven't seen The Fog. Are there any like other big ones, or am I?
Assault on Precinct 13 is pretty good. I don't know
No,
if you see
I
that.
still haven't seen
That was his first, or technically his second, like big movie.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
super
trash.
violent. I would argue that's one of his more violent movies.
I'll
Yeah.
watch it then.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
but you pretty much hit all the important ones.
Yeah, like the heavy hitters.
Yeah, like that's
I just haven't seen them I barely remember Escape from New York or Big Trouble in Little China.
Mhm.
I
yeah.
always get them confused.
I would
Just
definitely
because
say watch Prince of Darkness. That's one of my personal favorites of his. I would put it in like my top 3 Carpenter movies.
Okay.
And it's like super weird. And I actually do find it pretty scary. It's got some pretty creepy moments.
Yeah, I know that Carpenter's relationship with Kurt Russell was great, but his relationship with Donald Pleasance
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
like I always thought there was something about him when he came on screen. He commanded the whole camera.
Mhm.
There was just something about him I absolutely loved. And really, yeah, sucks. When did he die? A while, right? A while ago?
He died while they were filming one of the Halloween sequels. I don't remember which one.
Oh, really? While they were
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I know that they like had to like work around. He died in 95. But I
yeah.
remember it's either he died or he got sick while they were filming one of the Halloween movies, and they had to like work the movie around the fact that he couldn't be in it as much as
Oh,
they
yeah.
originally planned.
Yeah.
Poo fart shit.
There's a lot of Halloween movies out there.
Yeah, there are. And they're not all good.
Yeah.
Nope.
I
It's like
haven't seen all of them. I think I fell off after.
Yeah, it was Curse of Michael Myers is the one. He died when they were filming it, I believe. Which
Oh, okay.
is what is that, the 5th one?
I
So,
think
yeah, that's so 4 and 5 is with like the niece or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah.
4 is actually not bad. I don't
Yep.
hate 4.
Yeah,
I have
I stopped
seen-
at 4. That's like where my
Yeah.
scale of quality ends.
I thought 4 and 5 were actually not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like then you get into like the whole like cult stuff, which is it's interesting. It's just kind of like the franchise kind of like jumping the shark a little bit, where it's like Michael Myers is like this like supernatural being that like this cult is all involved in. It gets weird, but they're not like unwatchable movies.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
if you start from the first one and watch all of them, by the time you get there, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Is
yeah,
Buster Rhymes in one of them, right?
Yeah,
he-
that's
he's in,
Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Man, that's
Awful.
and that's like the only thing I remember about Resurrection.
That's
is
pretty much
Busta
the only
Rhymes.
memorable thing about
Yeah.
Resurrection.
But I just like that. So 1 and 2, Michael Myers. It's a pretty cut and dry case, and then Season of the Witch comes, and everyone's fucking really upset because there's no Michael Myers, but on its own ended up becoming a really good movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Season of the Witch, that was John Carpenter's idea from the start
Yeah.
to do the Halloween franchise as like an anthology franchise kind
Which
of.
Yeah.
I would be
yeah.
down for.
I
like,
know. I
if they-
kind of wish they did that, but obviously, like the studios were like, "No, we made a ton of money off Michael Myers. Make more Michael Myers."
Yeah,
And so they
yeah.
kind of gave it a shot with Season of the Witch, and it did so badly that they abandoned pretty much all of those plans.
Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
but fucking Tom Atkins appreciation post. Holy shit.
Season of the Witch is awesome. I
I
definitely
love it.
recommend everybody
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, which we'll
No,
be
I'm not.
doing in our Discord.
Ooh,
Am I
plug.
right? We're doing. I named it Killer Kino.
Oh shit.
So for those that don't know, we do
I'm
weekly watch
unfollowing.
parties in our Discord. So
Trash.
we decided, we're gonna do some spooky cinema, and we got on the 5th we're doing Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
Bad.
which bad. It's basically the Blob with clowns. Then we do
It's not
Reanimator.
basically the Blob with clowns. It is the Blob with
Right.
clowns.
Then on the 12th we have Reanimator, which is my favorite horror movie of all time.
Bad.
On the 19th we have Trick or Treat,
So good.
and
Trick
then
or Treat.
on the 26th we'll be doing Halloween 3.
So
Right.
all bad.
All bad, yeah. And I want to do like ones in between, like maybe really obscure titles
Mhm.
that we can legally get our hands on.
I haven't seen Trick or Treat, and I haven't seen Halloween 3.
Oh, you're gonna love both.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
really excited.
Trick or Treat, like I don't know why all of a sudden it's kind of like blown up in the past year or so, but it's been so like underrated for so long. I don't know what took it so long for people to like recognize it, but
Yeah, I don't know.
it's one of the best like Halloween movies out there, I think.
Yeah. And I think
That's what I've heard.
Michael Dougherty's supposed to do a sequel, right? At some point.
I hope so. He also did
Yeah.
Krampus, and he did the newest Godzilla movie.
No, then he'll probably do it.
Yeah, it's
He's
which
getting
I
enough hype right now.
yeah, I don't see why not. But
I
yeah,
hope so. It's like an anthology type movie, so that they can make 10 of them. It won't matter.
and I love that because it keeps it fresh. So like, if
Yeah.
you ever start to get a little bit bored with one of the stories,
Mhm.
then you could just watch Brian Cox get tortured by a fucking little doll.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
get like a ton of different genres, like horror
Yeah.
subgenres in that movie too. There's like ghost stuff, serial killers, like vampires. It's got like everything.
I
Yeah.
love that movie. The movie Krampus he did. I thought that movie was awesome.
Yeah, I
I've
like that
actually
movie,
never
too.
seen Krampus.
Oh,
It's
dude,
really
it's
good.
it's so good.
I've heard great
It's
things.
spooky, and it's
It's
also like Halloween and Christmas, like Nightmare Before Christmas.
it's like Black
Like-
Christmas.
Have you ever seen Nightmare Before Christmas? That's my favorite Halloween and Christmas movie.
So when do you watch that? Do you watch that around Halloween?
I watch it usually on both holidays. I'm kind of quirky.
Damn, drop that Tinder. Yeah, so we'll post links to the Discord. I mean, I spam it every day anyway. So if you guys want to watch quality Kino with us,
Dude, what the fuck is Kino?
something. We're also doing.
I can't even explain it. I can't even explain it, dude.
Why? How can you explain quality Kino?
I don't know what
You have to
Kino
live
means.
it. You have to live
All
it.
right, dude. I get it. I'm not a memer.
Yeah, you don't get it. You're
I'm not an internet boy.
Another thing we're doing, sort of
Take your
related,
clothes off.
every every October, we like to watch a horror movie every day.
Bad.
So our friend James created a list that he's dubbing the Ghoulathon list, and
It's
you just
racist.
basically not quite, and you make a pool of 62 movies, and you watch 31 of them. And I don't know what I'm starting with today. I just gotta look at my list, but we also have the link to that, so you can create your own list and fuck off like a good person.
Yeah.
I also want to do a giveaway, but I'll release details on that in the next coming week or so. Yeah, Carpenter sucks. Movies suck.
Stream Hubie Halloween.
We're gonna
Yes,
stream Hubie
dude.
Halloween.
Dude.
The cowards out there don't want us to, but we're gonna do it.
It's gonna be so good.
Hell yeah.
I
I'm
said
hyped.
before, I'm legitimately excited to watch that movie. If it's
Dude,
bad, I'm excited
it's
to
gonna
watch
be
it. If it's
awesome.
good, I'm excited to
Exactly.
watch it.
There's no losing in that.
Yeah, it's a
situation.
win-win. It's a win-win
Dude.
for me.
I'm gonna watch that movie probably as many times that I've seen Uncut Gems.
Everyone was like, he promised if he didn't win an award for Uncut Gems, this was the movie he made.
I hear it's the spiritual sequel to Uncut Gems. This is what
Oh my
happens.
god,
after
this is the world that we needed.
It's I hear it's a take on Dante's Inferno, and it's Howie in hell after he dies at the end of Uncut Gems.
Oh
God,
shit!
that is the movie we deserve.
Holy shit!
fuck. Yeah,
Ugh.
it's John Carpenter. You could love him, you could hate him. He's still a person.
True.
You know, he's still a person.
Really?
He's still a fucking person, dude.
I thought he was a cucumber.
Joe's over there, like, kind of hate him.
I'm like, kind of hot.
Joe's got
Honestly,
some POV. I'm a power top vibe right now.
Hello.
Well, I
Put some
think
more.
we've about wrapped up this shit show. So look forward to more spooky content, everyone. And this has been the Silver Screen Fiends podcast. I'm your host, Sam.
I'm Joby.
And I'm Blake.
I will catch you maybe next week. I don't know.
Nope,
Maybe.
Super podcast over.
We'll see what
Who
happens.
fart-